Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Twins Talk Arsenal. Today we're going to discuss the coverage of the Arsenal-West Ham game, which finished 3-3. Andreas, what were your thoughts on the game?
This is the epitome of what Arsenal have been this season, right? The first the first half was diabolical. What happens to the team? Why is there no consistency in this team? And then the second half is exactly what we want. The second half and the last 10 minutes of the first half is exactly what we want to see from Arsenal. All the time though, 90 minutes on the pitch. It's it sums up our season so far. Um, it's just a lack of consistency with this team. And it's a shame because when you see the way we played in the second half, if we played like that all the time, we would beat most teams in the league. But we just have these performances in the first half, which we can put out where, we look like a relegation team. I don't know, obviously glad that we came back and got the point, but it's not good enough. We should have got 3 points. What was your kind of opinion on it?
Yeah, same mindset really. I think the lack of consistency is the big killer for Arsenal. You saw in the first 35 minutes, Arsenal were 3-0 down. Essentially getting outplayed by West Ham. It was a performance that no Arsenal fan would really want to see.
Yeah.
Obviously West Ham were very clinical. They had 3 shots on target in that period, and they had 3 goals. And the second goal especially was definitely preventable. So to go 3-0 down, it was a bit hard to take as an Arsenal fan. Like you mentioned, Arsenal got the goal back before half time, which was important for the belief of the players, and went on to draw the game. So you can't be too disheartened. We got the next 3 goals, which was good, but the fact that we're 3-0 down in the first place against West Ham, they are a good team, don't get me wrong, but really, to be 3-0 down inside 35 minutes against West Ham,
Yeah.
you just expect more from Arsenal.
I mean, we're talking about how clinical West Ham are, right? But I'm sorry that especially the second goal, Leno should have saved that. Um,
Mm.
and I know our defense is weak as well, but at times Leno is just not good enough. He's just not a good enough shot stopper at Arsenal. There's been so many times where teams have had only 2 shots against Arsenal and scored both goals. Like we need a keeper that can pull saves out of the bag when we are a bit inconsistent. And you just feel if we had Martinez between the posts, who's one of the best shot stoppers in the league this year, we would be a lot higher up on the table. It wasn't all Leno's fault, but especially the second goal, you shouldn't be getting beaten like that. And yeah, it's just disappointing, really.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this second goal, you do have to kind of put the blame at Leno's feet a little bit. Obviously, at the end of the day, all of the goals are, you prevent them as a team. So obviously, you can't give him 100% of the blame. But
Yeah.
really, you look at how the goal was conceded for the second goal. Leno could have done a lot better. He could have prevented it. On another day, or if it's a better goalkeeper or whatever, you could have prevented it. So, I think Leno does have to take responsibility for that. And also, second goal is obviously a decisive goal. If Leno had made the save there, maybe it's only 1-0, and then we then scored to make it 1-1 before half time. To an extent, we did look a little bit dead and buried at 3-0 down. But credit to Arsenal. Like we did keep going. We kept trying to create chances, trying to come back into the game. Ultimately, got our just rewards. Callum Chambers, got to give a shout out to him. He had a very good game. He hasn't played for so long with his ACL injury. He's only played a handful of appearances since. So
Yeah.
for him to come back into the team today, he got his chance and he took it with both hands. It was a great performance from him. Obviously it's only one performance, and you need to see how he goes in the next few weeks and months. But great performance, and on the back of that, why not start him in the next game?
Yeah, I got to admit, I forgot about Callum Chambers. And when he came back, I was like, oh yeah, we still paid this guy to be in our squad. But it was a banging performance today. A lot of people would have seen him come in and thought, oh, this is a tactical decision just to deal with the height of West Ham. But actually, the guy was immense going forward. I think he got an assist. He
Yeah,
should have really had 2, but it technically doesn't count. Um, he was
his crosses were on
amazing today.
point, weren't they?
Yeah, and then when you look at having Kieran Tierney on the left and you've got Callum Chambers, if he continues to put performances like that on the right, I mean, obviously, it's only been one game. We shouldn't get ahead of ourselves, but not a promising start for him to come back into the team. I think. I think again, the centre back pairing was not the best. I think David Luiz again could have done better for some of the goals that we conceded. It's a weird thing with Arsenal. We started off the season doing very well defensively, and I think we were just behind Man City defensively, but we were really struggling to create. Now we're creating more chances and we're scoring more, but suddenly we haven't kept a clean sheet in 12 games. So Arteta's still struggling to get the balance right, and I think that's going to take some work over the transfer window to actually strike that balance well.
Yeah, definitely. Also, a few strange decisions from Arteta. Normally Aubameyang starts on the left, but this game he started on the right with Saka on the left.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that the experiment failed. It had to change back, in the first half. And obviously Aubameyang then stayed on the left until his substitution. But, I think it's stuff like that which, maybe Arsenal don't need when we need to get results. We don't need to be tinkering and trying to experiment what works best. We need to kind of just put a team out which, they're all in their favourite positions. They can get the job done. Because, obviously West Ham, it's a London derby, always a tough game. But really, Arsenal going into that game needing 3 points. So, I don't know, you can't really be experimenting, I don't think. I think you need to be going into the game, if Aubameyang's best on the left, put him on the left and let's go and get the win. Not to be experimenting, let's, try Aubameyang on the right, try X, Y, and Z. We need to just put our strongest team in their strongest positions, try and get the win.
Yeah, I mean, look, we conceded 3 early goals, and I wouldn't say that putting Auba on the left or the right is the reason why we conceded those goals. But I think...
But it could have blunted our offensive output.
It could have. I think really where Arteta's got a bit of a problem is trying to fit Lacazette and Aubameyang into the same team. And I think he's finding it really hard to, when he doesn't play Auba up front, to then play Auba on the wing, but then to not to drop him when he's not playing well. Auba was awful today, added nothing to the game. And honestly, when Auba's not scoring for Arsenal, we're basically carrying an extra player because he doesn't add anything else to Arsenal apart from those goals. So I think he finds it hard sometimes to drop Auba, even though he did it quite publicly against Tottenham. When Auba's not playing well in the game, he finds it hard to drop him. And today, you were just screaming for a guy like Pepe to come on in place of Auba earlier on because Auba offered nothing today. I think that's where Arteta finds it hard, right? Because Lacazette was immense today, and he wants to keep Auba in the team, our best, our captain, our best goal scorer. But what do you do when he's not scoring goals and he's not adding anything else to the team? I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess it's probably one that they'll know more behind the scenes than we will. But is it a lack of application on Auba's end? Is it just a lack of form? And the answer to that question ultimately should determine what happens. Like if Aubameyang just needs some time out of the spotlight, to be rested for a game or two.
Yeah,
it's one of those. We played West Ham. We've then got the international break coming up now. As an example, I don't know if Willian was fully fit, but why not play Willian or play Willian on the left, play Pepe. So to have Pepe and Saka on the left and right. We have alternatives if Arteta felt it would be best to take him out of the limelight. It's a tough one, with Auba, he obviously offers the goal threat. Well, I know less so this season, but last season and, since he's been at Arsenal, to be fair, he does offer that goal threat. So I think it's a tough one. You want him in your team because how good he can be or, the quality of the chances he can finish. But this season, for various reasons, it's just not working for him.
Yeah.
And maybe it is one that Arteta needs to protect him a little bit more, potentially. Take him out of the limelight for a week or two, just like he did with William, just like he did with Pepe earlier on in the season. Maybe take Auba out of the limelight for a little bit. Let the other wingers, okay, they want to play well and stake their claim. Let them deliver on the pitch, give Auba a bit of a rest, and then, he can come back fully firing, all guns blazing kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree, to be honest. Like we can't keep playing Auba if he's not going to be performing. And he had a really abysmal performance against Olympiacos. If he put in really both chances which he should have put away, and we come away with a second win in the Europa League. And
Yeah.
today as well, like you can tell that he's got a lack of confidence when he came through and he was on his left and he tried to cut back onto his right. I feel like Auba of the past would have just smacked that with his left and would have probably gone in as
Yeah, a
well.
confident Auba.
Yeah, he's lacking confidence a little bit, and you can't be afraid to drop a player when he's lacking confidence, especially if it means we're gonna miss out on a win. And like the real disappointing thing about today is if we win today, you're kind of looking up the table and you're thinking, who can we catch, right? We're not that far behind Tottenham. We're not that far behind Liverpool. Top four is a bit of a stretch, but if we keep winning, we can we're within reach of it. But the kind of draw today just kills our chances. And now you're like, at the most, we can maybe get Europa League qualification. And even that is going to be a huge stretch. So right now, you're basically saying like, forget about the Premier League. We just have to win the Europa League. And it's a shame. Like you wanted to see that ambition from the players right from the start, that this is our chance. We're gonna be climbing the table. We need to be winning every single game. And they came out in the first half like they just didn't care. Like it's disappointing, really. Honestly, it shouldn't have to take a halftime team talk from Arteta to really rile the players up. And yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think, that's the big thing. When you talk about Arsenal and, you see the players associated with Arsenal and the way that they talk about the club, they mention things along the lines of, we're not where we should be, but we want to be in the Champions League. We believe we're good enough, etc., etc. And then you look at these types of performances and it's like, these players, they talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. We've got these players that they're talking and going, oh, I want to play Champions League football. We think we're good enough, etc. But then go out and prove it on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, we look at like the West Ham game today. You look at, against Burnley over, home and away where we only got 1 point. Like, this is, 3 games we've got 2 points from. Like, if you then change that from 2 points, you then change that to 9. So as an example, if we'd got 3 wins rather than the results that we had, all of a sudden that's a 7-point gain, and I think we'd be level on points with Chelsea in fourth. So, it's one of those that at the end of the day, the reason Arsenal haven't got top 4 is not because everyone else has been so great. It's because Arsenal have been terrible this season.
It's because we've
when
not
I
been
say
beaten.
terrible, obviously they've turned it on in moments. We've dominated games for 70 minutes or whatever. But there's just been a lack of consistency over the course of the season. And even within games, there's been inconsistency over the 90 minutes. And, that has contributed to us not getting, points where we should have got points and ultimately not being in or around the top 4.
Yeah, I mean, these last 2 games have been pretty disappointing, especially after the win on the North London derby. You'd think that would give us some confidence. And it was just a lackluster display against Olympiacos. And then today, it was like a first half where they just didn't care. But look, I don't want to take away from Arsenal too much. Like, we did come back from 3-0 down, which is something rare to happen in the Premier League. And we almost won it right at the end. It gets frustrating when you think about climbing the table. But when you think about the kind of like resilience that we had to like come back into the game, okay, it shows that we're not going to be walked over and there's maybe something to build on for next year. But very much, this is a team for next year. Like, this is a building block. And I know people are like annoyed with Arteta, right? And I get that because it's going to be our worst finish in 25 years. I think you've got to like appreciate that he is going to be the manager at the end of the year, no matter where we finish, no matter if we win the Europa League or not. He's going to be the manager at the beginning of next season. And it's next season really where he'll be judged. And if we do badly next season, he'll be gone for sure. Like, but people need to kind of not lay off the criticism for now, but there's kind of no point in talking about it. Like, he's going to have another summer to try and bring in players and fulfill his vision. And then we've got to judge him next year and see what happens.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the issue is, if we take the Arsenal West Ham game in isolation, you know, as a team performance over the course of, you know, 90 plus minutes, it does, you know, it encaptures Arsenal's season,
Yeah.
unfortunately and fortunately. You know, to go 3-0 down against a team that had 3 shots on target in that period is obviously disappointing. It shows a bit of, you know, a defensive weakness in Arsenal, which teams can and are exploiting.
All the time.
But then, you know, if you go past that period that West Ham had, Arsenal did dominate the rest of the game. Probably Arsenal, it's a tough one, but as an Arsenal fan, I would say Arsenal deserved to win the game when you think about the performance from Arsenal after that period. You know, Arsenal got 3 goals. I know 2 were own goals, but, you know, it was great crosses by Callum Chambers. And, you know, once we'd got it to 3-3, if there was going to be a winner, you could argue there was only going to be one winner, which was
You
Arsenal.
say that,
But saying that,
Antonio,
I know West Ham did create good chances.
yeah,
But, you know, what I was going to say is that's what worries me about Arsenal in the Europa League. Like, we've got a route to the final now. We know our opposition for the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. Can we get to the final? Yes. But, you know, do you trust Arsenal in this current climate? The way that Arsenal are playing, how defensively open we can be at times.
yeah.
I don't know. Like, as much as obviously as an Arsenal fan, I hope Arsenal get to the final and win the Europa League. The inconsistency does worry me. I
Hugely. I
don't know
mean,
your
because
thoughts.
this is not like inconsistency which will cost you the league, right? It's not like we're winning 3 games, 4 games, and then losing one, and then winning 3 or 4 and then losing one. This inconsistency is coming up on a game by game basis, which, you know, at that point, maybe it just means that we're not good enough. But what I mean by that is we're playing well in games and then we're switching off for like 10, 15 minutes. And those 10, 15 minutes are giving teams goals. Like, we played well against Olympiacos. Well, we didn't play well, but we were the better team against Olympiacos. But we gave them a goal and we lost 1-0. Like, it was the same thing against Aston Villa when we played them earlier. We played well, but we conceded in the first 2 minutes because we switched off in the first 2 minutes and we lost. Like, every game, our performance is for probably 60, 70 minutes at 90 or 80%, and then it will always drop below 50% for 10, 50 minutes. Every team knows that as long as they hang in there and don't concede too many goals against Arsenal, they will probably score or have a great chance to score. And that's just not good enough, man. We need to be able to shut teams out.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, you know, like you touched on earlier with Arteta, you know, this season is a bit of a rebuilding process. You know, he did have a lot of dead wood in the team. You know, you look at like players like Kolasinac, Mustafi, you know, even Ozil towards the end of his reign, he wasn't playing for Arsenal. So, you know, these types of players, if they're not contributing on the pitch, they're not being a positive influence potentially in the dressing room, then obviously you have to get rid of them. You know, you do want a dressing room where everyone's, you know, compact and together kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, I do think we should give Arteta more time. You know, this is a big rebuilding job. We don't have the financial resources that, you know, Man City do, Chelsea do, etc. But, you know, at the same time, we do need to start seeing results because, you know, overall, this season hasn't been good enough. It's been far too inconsistent. And, you know, we'll see what happens next season, of course. But we want to be seeing improvements next season. You know, we don't want this again next season.
Yeah. I think the players really need to realize like how important this is what was annoying me today. Like, they need to realize how important Europe is for Arsenal. Like, I wanted to see that drive by the players today to go out there and get the win so that we can try and be right in the mix for the Europa League spots and maybe pushing for the Champions League. But the way they played today kind of shows that they don't understand how important it is for Arsenal to get Europe football next year. Like, if we don't win the Europa League, we're out of Europe completely next season. What is that going to do to our finances, considering we've already lost, I think it was 40 million because of the start of COVID, never mind the accounts that are going to come out for this year as well. And without Europe football giving us money as well, we're currently a Europa League club with a Champions League wage bill. What are we going to be if we're a Champions League wage bill with no European football at all? Like, if Arteta wants to rebuild this team in a positive way, we need Europe football next year, and players need to realize that. Like, so that's why it annoyed me that I didn't see that energy from them right from the beginning today to go out and get the win. We're always playing catch up, and now we need to win the Europa League just to be able to finance our summer, unless Kroenke puts his hand into his pocket, which you know he's not going to do. Like, it's just annoying. You want to see the kind of respect for the badge from the players that the fans have for the badge, and I think that's what annoys the fans the most.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think moving forward for Arsenal in terms of like contract negotiations, you've obviously got players like David Luiz, whose contract is expiring in the summer. You've got, players like Lacazette, who've got their contract expiring in a year's time in the summer. So there are going to be some, key decisions that need to be made.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, like you said, when you compare, like I think like Lacazette is on about 170 to 180 a week at Arsenal. As an example, you compare that to Tottenham. I think Harry Kane is on about 200k a week, and Son is on slightly less, so 180 approximately. So you've got Lacazette kind of on par with Son as an approximation for salaries, and just below Harry Kane for salaries. Obviously, you can hold your hands up and say Tottenham are doing something well. But on the other hand, on the flip side, it shows how poorly Arsenal are doing. Like, we're paying our players far too much money in comparison, or, for what we're getting in return. Like, really, we should be giving them a lower base salary and then, build up the weekly wage, incentivize it with, goal targets. And if Arsenal win a trophy, so, if Arsenal benefit, they all benefit. They all share a bonus or whatever it may be. The way it is at the moment, these players, a lot of them do look like they don't care. You look at players like Lacazette. It reminds me, Lacazette as an example had a good game today, but I don't know. Or maybe look at Aubameyang. He signed the new contract. It kind of looks like what happened with Oslo. He signed the new contract, and then you kind of don't care. Like he didn't care what happens to Arsenal because he's like, whatever happens, I'm getting 350k a week. And it kind of looks that way a little bit with Aubameyang. Like, it does worry me. Hopefully it's just a bad season and he'll come good next season. He'll rediscover his form from previous seasons. But it does worry me, the signs this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say that they don't care, but there's not that. It's like a shift in mentality that Arsenal players need. Like the kind of mentality that you see like Kieran Tierney have. You need all Arsenal players to have that mentality. Not like just rock up, be kind of scared of the game, then you're losing and your heads drop a little bit. You need to have that motivation to like keep going and want to do everything to win. And sometimes you feel like Arsenal players are missing that. I'm sure they care. Like I know that Auba cares for sure, but Auba's confidence seems to have taken a knock this season, and it's not good when you think the length of the contract we've given him, how much money we're paying him. But look, I don't want to slag Arsenal off too much after we just came back from 3-0 down. Like it was impressive resilience in the second half. It's just that we shouldn't have to be showing that resilience by being 3-0 down in the first half. But anyway, yeah. I think we look forward to the next game. And hopefully we can try and pick it up. But really, like our attention should just be on the Europa League at this point, because I don't see us climbing the Premier League in any meaningful way.
Yeah, I mean, we have definitely had the chances to climb it. Like, the other teams competing for top four have not played well, in the sense that they've all dropped points against teams maybe they shouldn't have dropped points against, etc. The big issue has been that Arsenal have then not been able to capitalise on it because Arsenal themselves have been, just as much or even more inconsistent.
Yeah.
So it is a worry. You don't really want to put all your eggs in one basket and kind of hope for the Europa League to win it, but it is looking more and more likely that this is the position we're finding ourselves in, that we have to turn up and win the Europa League. The concern is like when you look at the Olympiacos game, the Benfica game. In theory, Arsenal should be making a lot more of an easier job of these two games or these two ties.
We're limping over the line.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of the key worry. Like, the quarterfinal and semi-final games, can Arsenal win them? Definitely. But, will Arsenal make it harder than it should be? Arsenal can definitely win both and get through to the final. But which Arsenal will turn up? How well will we play? We'll create chances in both games. Will we be clinical and take those chances? There's a lot which, unfortunately, we can't have too much faith in Arsenal at this moment in time. We've just got to wait and see what happens. But, what I would add as well is, we've got the international break coming up now. So hopefully the Arsenal players don't get too many minutes. Hopefully they're well rested when we come back for the Liverpool game, because that's going to be another massive game.
I think one positive is Thomas Partey is not playing. So he can rest, kind of keep training, build up his strength a little bit, and we can protect him from injury a little bit, because he's going to be really important going forward. One thing which maybe we should end on, but Thomas Partey, man, I love you. You're a great player, but stop taking shots, because I'm sure one is going to whistle in and it's going to be amazing. But so far, he's taken 1 or 2 shots every game, and they are screaming over the bar. Apart from that, he's a great player, but just keep your shot taken down, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, we see how good his passing range is and can be. So keep that up. We don't need him to be shooting. We've got the forwards to finish off the chances.
I think another bright light as well, sorry, just to pick up on some good things from today's game. Odegaard was immense in the second half, played really well, really dictated the flow of the game. So he's got promising future, maybe not at Arsenal, but I guess we'll see. Callum Chambers played really well. Glad that he's back. Good to see that he's doing well. Lacazette took both of his goals quite well. Now the first one was a bit lucky, but it was a great touch to bring the ball back under control. So there were some good performances in there today. A shame that they didn't get the result that those performances deserved, but hopefully we'll go on and do that next time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly that. Let's get together again and, hope Arsenal can get the job done against Liverpool. Obviously, maybe with the inconsistency in the league, in the grand scheme of things, it might not mean too much. We'll have to see. But just for confidence, let's go out and get the win. We can definitely beat Liverpool. Let's show what Arsenal are about.
Yep. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you liked what you saw, please feel free to like and comment. If you agree or disagree, we'd love to hear your opinions. And also, if you're new around here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys for the next game. Catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.